Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason here at New Dimensions Crystals and Reiki in downtown Benham, Texas. And today's Star Report is for December the 24th, Christmas Eve, through December the 30th, 2025. And as usual, we start with our sun. And our sun is actually quite quiet. And as we sort of paid into that, a couple things that are happening. There are some sunspots that are becoming Earth facing, but they aren't as complex as they could be, which means that they have a less likelihood for eruption or solar flaring. So that's good news. Although sometimes it's cool to get that little amp from the sun to continue to move through the darker days of winter, even though it doesn't feel like winter down here in Texas. I think it's going to be 80 today. So yeah, ooh, nice cold Christmas weather. And there is a coronal hole stream that is incoming, already caused some earthquakes around the globe. And so that's the dark spot, and it's inside a plasma stream. And that plasma stream usually causes a contraction or a compression of the tectonic plates, which is why that would cause earthquakes. And so those earthquakes, if you live next to a fault line, pay attention that you might have some light rumbles. Um, and energetically, it's just going to make you feel slightly sluggish. So even though the weather is hot and not sluggish, the energy is. So pay attention to that. We're currently in the zodiac of Capricorn, and alchemically in the physical body, that's going to relate to our first three vertebrae of our sacrum, which is kind of where our Kundalini sort of resides, right? And people that pay attention to spiritual energy, we know that we're trying to raise the energy up from that sacrum. I think it kind of, this is just a Jason thing. I think it kind of functions like our appendix for our energy field. So those of you who don't know, the appendix stores our gut biome, a record of it. And so when it gets out of whack, that starts to release stuff to sort of reset the gut biome. Energetically, I believe when we can activate that Kundalini, it sort of resets us or reactivates us, right? Because a lot of the energy that we sort of encounter or the daily thoughts and interactions that we have sometimes lower what we really are because we're encountering things that might be of low vibration or people that might be of low vibration. And so just that sort of Kundalini and that focus on that energy at the bottom, which could be activated by all sorts of things, psychedelics, meditation, breath work. You can sort of increase that. Sometimes just pelvic floor contractions can sort of help raise that energy. Exercise will sometimes do that for people. So just sort of pay attention to that. That's why sometimes you feel sort of a euphoric feeling after you work out. That's why you sort of feel recharged after meditation. All the things. We are currently in 3 retrogrades. Chiron is in retrograde, which is really about the expansion of our self-worth, right? A lot of times Chiron is sort of associated with our heart. And so that idea that when we become soul-centered, we can sort of understand, despite all the evidence in the exterior physical world, we are divine at heart. Uranus is also in retrograde, and that's really about reimagining what it means to sort of be in this human form. What are we? What are we doing here? And so all those ideas about how chemical and energetic interactions in the physical body are actually correlated or reflections of our spiritual health and wellness. So pay attention to that. And also Jupiter is in retrograde. And in retrograde, Jupiter, well, all the time, is really about sort of career and expansion, the expansion of abundance, whether that's joy, whether that's money. But in retrograde, it's sort of like, how are we going to do that? Or how is that shifting to become bigger? A lot of times you'll see this in organizations and in corporations where they sort of hit a plateau and then it needs to be reimagined. Like, how can we continue to grow, or do we sort of hit our plateau and continue to decrease, right? So this is a lot of energy of reinventing that. How do you want to make money? How do you want to be yourself to make money? Kind of energy. So good times for the retrogrades. Actually, they're not that bad of retrogrades. There's not that many. So it's not that complicated, right? So can you focus on yourself and get more money? Yeah, right. So easy peasy. Leads us into today, the 24th, Christmas Eve of 2025, and the energy in the cosmos. Right. And of course, we're in the midst of a pole shift, right? So the cosmos has more influence than normal because there's less resistance, less barrier between us and the beyond, which is why we start with our sun, because that affects us the most. But when the stars align in the energetics, right, because we are run by energy, and the flow of energy through the body, right? The mitochondria is about shape and charge, not necessarily about chemicals and structure, although that structure, causes the shape and then that makes charge. Anyhow, that sounds like a science discussion, Jason. It might. So, anyway, the energy of the cosmos is today, Venus into Capricorn is really going to sort of enhance, because we're in the zodiac of Capricorn, is going to enhance that sort of spiritual activation, right? So sometimes you might feel that in the pineal gland, right? But this is really sort of a receptor. You want to think of that as your antenna to sort of receive the Wi-Fi. Um, and that activation, as it sends creativity and creative energy into the sacrum, is really going to further awaken that Kundalini today. Look also to the spiritual center, right? So a lot of times once you do this, there's a whole bunch of computations, calculations. You might feel it in the back right of the skull, which is where we sort of have our spiritual video card, where we can sort of make sense of the information that is coming in around us, and it sort of shows us what that means for us. So pay attention to that energy back right of the brain. Answers are really incoming. The important thing is to really ask the right questions. And so you'll sort of notice that when you get around gurus, right, they can tell by your questions the answers that you can receive, right? So when you can ask better questions, you can get better answers. A lot of times in sort of like job interviews and sort of physical reality, it sort of narrows down into sort of are you asking the right questions to sort of get the right answer? And by that, I'm sort of saying that you're getting clarity, right? So the more clear you can be and the more simplified you can be, the better the answers are. And sometimes you want to think about it. This is like the movie Inception, right? Where you can get the clearest why down into the core of the operating system, the consciousness, then the rest of the consciousness starts to operate on the answer to that why. So yeah, it sounds like some cool stuff. So answers are incoming. Ask the right questions. The moon's going to be the moon is going to be squaring Uranus today, also leading to a little bit of irritation and moodiness, right? Which, duh, it's the holidays. As you gather for Christmas and Yule, sort of pay attention to that, right? Everybody's going through it, right? And we know that we like to focus on ourselves, and if we can't fix ourselves, and yada yada yada. But when you're in a group of people, especially family, everybody's fixing themselves, and everybody is also in different ways mourning the I don't say destruction, but the relaxing or the changing of family structures. That's either with aging or people hosting in different places, or just the nature of some of the things you've constructed as tradition might be becoming new, right? So everybody's sort of going through that, right, in different levels of excitement or grief about what that sort of means. Keep in focus. Yeah, you're all shifting despite traditions. Leads us to tomorrow, Thursday, the 25th. Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy Yule and all the fun things. Still, on Thursday, we're going to be being influenced by Venus, which is really sort of the planet of love energy, of sort of it's all going to be okay kind of energy. The sun sextiles the moon, giving us sort of a passive energy. So I don't say you're going to be stuck in your own head, but it's going to be sort of this passivity of just sort of being in the moment rather than forcing the issues. Um, and then some of the things we might be sort of focused on with this energy is really how does this physical form reflect the inner energies of who you've become over the year, um what you believe you're shifting into, right? And so if you're wanting to be this different person and it's not reflected on the outside, and that could be minor things like hairdos and stuff like that, but a lot of times that's like diet and physical exercise. And so how does this form work, right? A lot of times we'll sort of experience it these days, especially with people with lots of money. We'll talk about uh, interior physical age rather than chronological age, right? So that sort of reverse aging kind of thing. Hi, I feel young and vibrant, but my body's falling apart. And so there's ways to obviously do that, spiritual ways that work quite well, meditation, breath work. But diet is also a thing, right? So you might be reflecting like, does this outer me, does this image of self reflect what I really am? Also, on Thursday, the moon is going to be sextiling Mars, and it's going to give you the ability to sort of communicate well. And the communication well is really going to be between mind and soul, right? So there's a whole lot of ideas that get packed in here, whether that's through education or experience or repetitive tradition. Uh, you're gonna be able to communicate well with your soul, right? So, like, hey, soul, is this the structure that this soul thrives in? And then also, it's going to be better communication with others, right? So, Christmas Day, the moodiness might still be alive, but you're going to be communicating it better. And sometimes communication is just presence, right? So you might not have to say anything at all. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. It's not necessarily true, especially if the not saying anything allows you to sort of reside in a stuck place. So enjoy the holidays, I suppose. The energy is going to be good for it, so don't get alarmed. Friday, the 26th day after Christmas, we're entering the final weekend of 2025. And really, the weekend is going to be sort of an overview of the self and the larger world. Jupiter and Chiron are going to be giving you direction for further ascension and expansion of the self. And so, uh, Jupiter expansion, Chiron heart, right? So, soul led gives you the direction for further ascension as you become aware of just how many things you shifted over the year. Right? It's been a pretty intense year. The moon is also going to be squaring Mercury, and it makes for some hiccups in travel, right? So if you're leaving the day after Christmas to go back home, or maybe you waited till the weekend because of jobs and whatnot to have Christmas over the weekend. I know a lot of people celebrate it as a movable holiday because not everybody is no longer geographically centered like we used to be in the good old days, right? See how tradition shifts, right? So now we're more spread out, so sometimes we can all get together in a different place over the weekend. And of course, when we have extended family, sometimes we're having multiple Christmases and they have to extend more of the day because of geographical location. So moon squares Mercury. The moon's also going to be trining Jupiter, and that can sort of help with social success and breakthroughs, right? So reputationally, looking for some new friends, trying to join some new groups to have some shared interests go on. That could be a big thing on Friday. And a lot of times when people come home for the holidays with social success, right? Oh, it was a good time. I'm glad to see these people. Hadn't been here in a hot minute. Saturn also is going to be influence us a little bit, and that's going to sort of creep in and really, I won't say get you depressed, but get you sort of, what's the word? Questioning, disapproving of fakeness, right? And so the artificial parts of the world, right? The artificial parts of yourself, the artificial parts of your family, like, oh, we just do this so that blah blah blah, and we don't make somebody mad or make somebody's memory mad. You might be sort of seeing, I don't say seeing through, because it's not that they're bad; it's that they're no longer serving the greatest good. So you might have a little bit with that Saturn influence, kind of going, hey guys, these rules are not, these traditions aren't yours, and your consciousness no longer functions high in those. So pay attention to that on Friday. And that could be, hey, everybody came back from the holidays and they're not the same people. They're not my people to hang out with anymore. And it's good to know that, but like, oh man, now what do I do? Or, oh, I always had such a high opinion of so and so and blah, 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 all the things. Saturday, the 27th of December still. I keep trying to change the months like it's October, it's November, it's December. And a lot of that is sort of the radiation of probably just for me, but if you're sort of thinking different months and times during the year, those are the sort of things where you began the projects that are sort of culminating here at the end of the year. And so on Saturday, the 27th, Mercury and Jupiter are really going to be sharpening the mind, right? So you're going to be focused and clear. Things that you and it's going to be showing you things that you can't unsee unless you like really practice. I don't say delusion, but sort of like, oh, I'm not going to see it, not going to act like that, or just going to ignore it. And we all know how that kind of goes. It's like, oh, I got a pain in my back. Oh, it's fine, and then it gets worse and worse and worse. Oh, maybe it's a kidney infection. So that's the kind of thing to sort of pay attention to on Saturday. Also, the moon in Aries is going to help you feel a burst of energy that can help you finish out the year. And Pluto can have you feeling sort of a warm sentiment, like, hey, I'm really glad I had the experience of those things that are no longer going to be around, right? And sort of that sort of sentimentality of, oh, those were really great. Instead of mourning those or trying to recreate those, think that what new ones can I create or how much better can it be is the energy of Saturday. Sunday, the 28th of December, the 28th of December, 2025, the final 22 master day of the year leaves you sort of feeling empowered to create in the new year, right? So uh, a sense of mastery, even though some of the things might not have come to the conclusion or they might not be quite over. This is going to give you the energy of sort of feeling like, hey, all the things that I've learned about the self, all the shifts that I've made, all the changes that have happened, right? So sometimes all this stuff shifts around you because you've aligned in a different way, right? And that stuff is not in alignment anymore. It doesn't mean it was good or bad. It just sort of means that it's not your highest good anymore. And so sometimes you just need to leave those things in the past. Right. And so this 22 master day sort of feels empowering, right? Hey, I can make the new things, I can do the new stuff. Blah 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 blah. And you want to think of this sort of 22 master day is also sort of corresponding to I believe it's the first one in April, right? So sort of think of the things that sort of began in April, or when you started to have some aha moments or some suspicions. It's like I'm talking slow. Some suspicions about what needed to change or what was shifting, and so those things are sort of coming to a completion. A cool note: 2026 is going to have 32. It's a lot. It's a whole month of master days. So right, mastery's coming in 2026. It's all going to be fine. The world is not ending. Anyway, 2026 is going to have 32 22 master days, and oddly enough, no 11 master days. And so, what that sort of shift is, or what that sort of intensity means, is that we're going to shift into actual mastery, not metaphorical mastery. So practical things that are going to happen, not just theories about what can happen. And so, and all the good changes. Today, Sunday is really going to determine, whack to the table. Sunday is really going to determine the pace of which you sort of engage in 2026, right? And so that pace could be aha moment after aha moment. That could be motivation while you're doing your new rituals that you're adding, your new exercise things, your new diets, right? So this is the pace, right? That you're sort of setting, like how intensely am I going to attack this expansion that I'm having? And then also the moon is going to be in a favorable alignment. I think it's a trine with Mercury, and that's going to really be enhancing your comprehension, right? So not only are you going to sort of set the pace, but you're going to comprehend stuff, right? Like, oh yeah, and then if that's true, then this, right? So comprehension is always a good thing for actual action, because if you act without comprehension, it's kind of like having to follow directions too much, and then all of a sudden you comprehend, like, oh, this is why I add this here, and this is why I cook in this certain order, right? Since we're around the holidays cooking things, then that sort of comprehension is you can sort of I can't even think of the word. You can improvise different additives, different techniques, different um, ingredients to sort of make that better, but still comprehend like why you're doing the certain steps, and you can sort of alter or personalize those steps, right? And second, that could be your spiritual practices, that can be your diet, that can be cooking a recipe. Leads us into Monday, the 29th of December 2025. And so with a sense of knowing what 2025 was for you, right? And that's that comprehension thing of Sunday. Mercury and the moon are going to allow you to ease communication between the mind and the soul, or the heart and the head. So that comprehension of what is programmed in or mind limiting stuff, you're going to be able to sort of communicate more soul stuff into that. And so that's a good thing. What you want and who you are is alignment, right? So that comprehension really sort of says, hey, alignment is primo here. And you know, you're going to get a knowing of what your needs are in 2026 and how to sort of achieve those. The moon in Taurus is going to emphasize your alignment, and that alignment is potentially, more than likely, better than not being in alignment, going to actually emphasize that alignment can bring you financial success as well, right? So that a lot of time, especially over the last couple of years, being in alignment sort of extracted you from what seemed like was making abundance. And so this is really that alignment is actually going to reinsert you into an echelon or a dimension where your alignment can actually be financially beneficial. And then the moon and Pluto is going to have you driven enough to actually move and grow and expand, right? So a lot of energy over the last couple of years has been, what's the point? This is and that is limiting or broken or yada yada yada. So this is sort of accountability, right? Self accountability leads us into the last day of the report, Tuesday the 30th, right before the new year. I think I'm going to try to be here on the 31st and try to do another video, but we'll see what my travel plans are and how I'm feeling on New Year's Eve. But Tuesday the 30th of December 2025, the sun and the moon are really going to be feeding the continued dissolving of illusions, right? What's real, what's fake. Um, as you as the year closes, and it highlights the inside out approach, right? If I want to see something different out here, I need to shift on the inside. And routine shake up. The moon and Mars will continue to drive willpower and give you the gas and the take for this change, which leads us into 2026. Just sort of a note on the end of the year. We're at the end of a cycle as well. This is the 9 year. We're moving into a 1 year. And so 2025 is really completing a cycle that began in 2017. Just think of all of the things that have been revealed about the world since 2017. And how much you've grown, right? Including this concluding this 9 universal year is really like, hey, that shift from 2017 to now, right? Was I in Texas yet? I think I was thinking about moving back to Texas about that time, but definitely started a higher march into discovery of soul alignment kind of stuff, right? So a lot of things have happened in the last 9 years for me in particular. Started the shop in 2019, so I've been here 6 years. So I had 3 years of cycle before I opened the shop. Let's see what else. We've released a lot of things. And so releasing, I always think of consciousness as a rise up, right? And so I always make the metaphor, I think, that we're a hot air balloon, our consciousness is, and the more things that we can toss away or out of the basket allows us to rise further, right? So just think of all the things that we've released and allowed our consciousness to rise. Long held patterns have sort of dissolved, helping us pack light for the next cycle. That's good. And so the next cycle is a universal 1 year. And really, that universal 1 year is about an ascended life path present in the now, right? Not what was, what could have been, not what about ism, like, oh, if this and this and that don't change, I don't have to. Right. So inner changes the outer. So the sort of being present in the now and awaken to so much, right? We can sort of see a lot of things that we couldn't see in 2017. Our divine nature is going to really be the guide. And what you're going to be called to do in the new year with the 22 master days, is apply your soul's wisdom and thrive, anchor yourself in it, not in the past. And the thing, going back to whatever day that was, I talked about questioning, asking the right questions. What does your soul want to create? And that's the energy to sort of take into the new year. I'll probably be gone the rest of this week. I don't know if I'm going to come in on Friday and Saturday. If I happen to, maybe I'll put it on Facebook. But look for me maybe to be gone for the next 2 weeks. But of course, check Facebook or Instagram and see if there is news to the contrary. Because not necessarily doing anything for New Year's, but I got a birthday party in the extended family that I'll have to be gone after New Year's Day for. So pay attention to that. I think that's everything. I feel like I've gone on and on in this report, but it's an important report and it's a happy holidays and wishing all of you the very best, safest, and most expansive holiday that you could have. And until next time, everybody, many blessings.